Eric. I work with Forte, and today I'm going to show you some different exercises that you can do for your hands, wrists, and elbows. These are things that you can do just sitting at your desk, sitting in a chair, sitting on your couch, anywhere you want to. The point is to teach you how to do some things to make your hands a little bit stronger, as well as your wrists and elbows just a little bit. They all kind of work as one big unit, and when they're not working well, they tend to lead to difficulties with a variety of day-to-day tasks, including simple things like opening jars, but sometimes even turning keys can be involved. So let's get started. You're going to need a hand towel and a water bottle. And so I'm going to start off with this little hand towel. If you're like me, you have a bunch of just extra hand towels that you use around the house for just cleaning up things that are older as you replace them with newer ones. That's what this is. What I'm going to have you start off with is you can do this at the same time. You're going to roll your towel into a roll, right? You're just going to wrap your hands around it and just squeeze that towel and then release and squeeze and release. Now you probably saw me do it. I was kind of slouching a little bit when I started doing this and I sat myself up. I would encourage you when you are doing any activity to intentionally put yourself in what you feel is as good a posture as possible. Generally, that means sitting up more straight, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, and lightly engaging your tummy muscles. And I'll tell you that while it may not seem like it makes a difference, when we put our body in the best alignment possible, even for doing something as simple as squeezing a towel, it makes a difference as far as our overall ability to do work, okay? So then the next thing we're gonna do after we've done about whatever number of these that you want to, I just kind of pay attention to maybe for about a minute or two at a time. Now we're gonna take it and we're going to wring it. So if this were a wet towel and you're trying to wring the water out of it, that's what we're doing next. And you can kind of change your hand positions and wring it out. And again, what this does is it makes our grip work a little bit differently, makes our wrists get engaged a little bit here. It doesn't have to be wet, obviously, but this type of a movement is something, again, that helps create some strength as well as functional mobility within your hands and fingers. And so I like to give this as an activity for a lot of people. And again, use a towel that you don't care about for this. Something that could be a hand towel, it could be a dish towel. Some people call them tea towels, something along those lines. Whatever you can kind of get your hand around that gives it a little bit of something that's relatively firm, but still kind of soft to squeeze against. Now you see I've got this kind of held out in front of me. You don't have to. You can have it just down here at your sides. If you hold it out in front of you, your shoulders are going to get a little bit more work while you're doing it. You're just engaging more joints, engaging more muscles in the process by bringing it out in front of you. But if you have shoulder issues or if your arms get tired, just bring it down here in front of you. And this works just fine too. You can also change your angle and do it sitting up like this. And while it doesn't seem like it would make any difference and change which one is on top, while it doesn't seem like it'll make any difference, you can see that my shoulders are doing something different when I'm in this position than when I was in the more horizontal position, okay? I'm gonna set that down. We're gonna leave that out of the way for a little bit, and we're gonna go just to fingers. And so what I do with fingers for people is I just take tip to tip, or pad to pad. So you can go flat to flat like that, or you can go tip to tip like so, making a big circle out of your fingers and going to each one of them. And again, with the intent of creating a little bit of strength between that opposition that occurs there. This doesn't seem like it will make much of a difference, but again, the more that you practice it, the more that you find that you have a little bit more control with fine motor activities. So where you have to pick up small things, coins, etc. If you do any needlework of any kind, actually, or if you like to do needlework and you find difficulty with it, practicing things like this will help. And then while you're also doing this, you can progress from just squeezing to kind of tapping individually to each fingertip. And again, the more quickly that you can kind of do this, the more it helps improve some of your dexterity. It's a little bit difficult to do when I'm not looking at my fingers. And it's a little bit difficult to do when I'm also talking at the same time, but it does create a bit of coordination. So You might practice it sometimes with your eyes open and sometimes with your eyes closed, and you might distract yourself with something else just to help improve that overall coordination. So however you want to do it, but those are all good things to do for the fingers and for the hand strength. Now I'm going to reach down here and I have this water bottle, and a lot of people have these big steel water bottles. I'm checking my cap to make sure that it's on so that I don't spill anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little wrist curl here. So I'm just going to curl just at my wrist and bring it up and then let it back down as far down as I can go comfortably, as far up as I can go comfortably. So this bottle, because it's steel, right? And then I have it filled with water and it's about 1 liter. It probably weighs somewhere around 3 pounds. So it doesn't have to be something that's super heavy. It's something that's big enough that if I have hand-related issues, that it's not going to require a tight grip for me to hold on to. At the same time, it's not so big similarly that it's going to require a tight grip for me to hold on to. So find something that's a good size for you, a good weight for you. About 1 liter of water in a plastic water bottle will probably weigh a little bit less than, in a steel water bottle, but a lot of people seem to have these things around these days. And like me, they like to put stickers all over them. So you can certainly do that. And then of course you want to do the other side as well. And again, the number of repetitions is really sort of up to you. If you want to do 10 or 15 of them at a time, that's fine. If you want to just kind of do it until it gets tired, that's fine. If you're just doing it with me, whenever I switch, right? Because I'm not particularly counting in this case. There's my dog. No, don't bark. Sometimes my dogs will show up in the videos. Now we're going to do the opposite. I'm going to let it drop down and I'm going to pull it up the other way. Okay, so we went one direction, we have to go the other direction because of course we know that our wrists go both ways and our muscles do different things going in the different directions. When I set it up like this, I'm doing it against gravity. For some people, it helps to have a little bit of support here. So sometimes I'll show this to people if they rest it on a desk or if they rest it on a countertop or something like that. Or you can reach over with the other hand and give it a little assistance. I'm going to switch sides just so again we get both sides going. If you can do it without holding on, again what it does is it engages your upper arm and your elbow a little bit more. So again, using more muscles to create a coordinated effort to the activity. And anytime we can get more than one thing involved, that's going to be good because it just burns a little bit more energy, I guess. And most of us, again, we sit probably more than we should. And if we can do something that just kind of burns off a little bit more energy for us, that's probably a good thing as well. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to change my movement again. This is what we call supination and pronation. You don't have to know that, there won't be a test. But we're just kind of turning the hand over and under, right? I'm not straightening out my elbow or anything to do that at any point. I'm keeping it right here at my side. The only thing that's happening is I'm doing a turn, a rotation, twist side to side like so, okay? I've got my water sloshing around in there. I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. It doesn't really matter. But in the end, you just want to go back and forth like this. And these muscles help again with just some functional tasks. We don't typically just do things in a straight plane or anything along those lines. We usually have rotations and things like that involved in most things that we do. So we want to make sure that the muscles that create those rotations are nice and strong. You'll find that rotational muscles are important for a lot of things that you do, including opening jars, including turning keys in a door or the ignition in your car, things along those lines. If you do work around your house where you're screwing in and out screws, obviously there's a lot of rotation that occurs with that. So that's something else just to kind of keep in mind. And most of us like to be as independent as possible. So if we can keep up our strength and our function and our dexterity for as long as possible, that's usually a good thing. All right, so I'm going to change from this now, and we're just going to come down. We'll just do a biceps curl. So we're just bring hand to the shoulder. Again, this is not a lot of weight, so you can do this for as long as you want to. But for some people, a 2 or 3 pound weight is more than they're accustomed to, and so they can get tired pretty quickly. For other people, they could do much heavier weight, but it's not about really building up a whole bunch of strength. It's about creating the movement at first And then later, if you decide, you can certainly increase resistance, get yourself some weights or some resistance bands, and you can do with a little bit more resistance that way. But this is just something that a lot of people have around. A water bottle, pretty simple to find, pretty easy to get your hands on, literally. And so it's a nice way to be able to use something that you have functionally around the house. You can also do this with like milk carton. That's what I'm trying to say. Has a nice handle on it. So if you get a quart milk carton and you fill that up, again, that's probably going to be right around probably right around 2.5 pounds. It's pretty close to about a liter, right? So 2.5 pounds. By the time we get a full gallon of water, it's typically right around 7 to 8 pounds. So if I'm doing my math right, really a quart should be about 2. Some people will say water is up to 10 pounds. I think it really depends on who measured it and what the vessel was in that it was, weighed in. So regardless, you can always add different amounts of water into a gallon milk bottle, and that'll give you some different resistance to play with as well. I'm going to change my angle on this. Now, instead of doing palm up, I'm doing thumb up. It uses the same movement, but it uses a different set of muscles to help create that movement. The personal trainers of the world call this a hammer curl. Because this is how you would hold a hammer. I think the nice thing about this particular movement is it's also very similar to what a lot of people call a 12-ounce curl. So whether it's your soda or water, preferably, or an adult beverage, this is something that you'll do with consistency throughout the day. Again, you should probably drink more water than anything else. Most of us don't drink quite enough. And again, just keep going with it for as long as you feel comfortable. This is not something that, again, with a lighter weight, that is going to be easily fatiguing. But even with a lighter weight, after enough repetitions, it becomes fatiguing. Now I'm going to remind you again of the posture thing. I've done it a couple of times where I've allowed myself to slump and I caught myself and pulled myself more upright. As you do this, especially if you're not sitting against the back of a chair, you'll feel those low back muscles engaged also to help hold in that position. And as long as it doesn't cause you discomfort, this is okay to do for short periods of time, and progressing to longer periods of time if you want to. But certainly if it causes you discomfort, sit all the way back against the back of the chair. Now we're going to do just the opposite of the palm up, and we're going to do palm down. And this is a reverse grip curl. So we're just turning the palm down, and we do that same elbow bending movement. You're going to see that again, my hand ends up a little bit more out to the side. That's just anatomy. That's just kind of how that turns out that way. Good. We're just going to keep going with that for a few repetitions. And I think I've said everything I need to say about your sitting posture, about the resistance, about the number of repetitions. I'm going to switch and do the other hand. And I'll just remind you that this is just something that you can do easily for yourself throughout the day. Just to give yourself a little bit of movement, get your heart pumping just a little bit, get your muscles active just a little bit, stimulate things rather than sitting still. It's something you can do passively while you're watching television. Something you can even do passively if you're sitting and reading, or if you're sitting at a computer and in a meeting and maybe you don't have a camera on. But just to kind of keep yourself a little bit more active throughout the day. With that, I'm going to wrap that up. I'm going to set that water bottle down, and I'm going to say thank you again for joining me and for your time. My name is Eric. I work with Forte. I hope you have a good day.
We here at Forte would like to thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to follow more of the offerings from Forte, please subscribe below. And don't forget to share us with your friends. Enjoy well-being.